Okay. NIH public access policy and grant applications. Anything you in relating to grants that are NIH. So you need to include the PubMed Central ID, and they'll tell you that. They'll send it back to you if it's not there, of anything you cite that has been funded by an NIH grant, or the NIMS ID. 2 numbers show compliance. That needs to be in biosketches. Again, if you're doing something on a training grant where there might be anywhere from 10 to 60 faculty and you have to include their biosketch has to be in compliance. And then your progress reports, your competing or non-competing renewal, anything you cite in those documents that you're citing a publication that was NIH grant funded. Okay? So it's better to do it before rather than when you get the message from either the ORPS people or from NIH. So we're very lucky here. We have these gatekeepers up front who actually will not pass it on to NIH until it's in compliance. There are many institutions that don't have that gatekeeper and they send it directly to NIH and then they get it back. Even though it may have been submitted on time, they're going to hold it. They're not going to process it until they're in compliance. So here's the different numbers to show compliance. And those journals that deposit the final version that are on that list in Method A, you can say PMC journal in process because they actually get 12 months to do the deposit. They don't necessarily have to do it right away, so that's why you indicate PMC journal in process. Here's what it looks like. Do not include the PM ID. Every record in Medline has a PM ID. That's a Social Security number. That does not show compliance. And that's going to be a red flag from the people over at Wolverine Tower or NIH saying, this isn't what you need. We need either a PMC ID or a NIMS ID, or PMC journal in process. 2, 3, and 4 are the only ones that show compliance. I wouldn't even go with a PMID because that's going to be a red flag. Why are they putting this in? This isn't what we want. Now, I've had people say, well, what do I have to do with CVs? You can do anything with CVs. You can put a PMID and a PMC ID if you'd like, or the NIMS ID, because the CV does not go to NIH. It's the faculty's personal resume or CV showing their publications. So you can include anything, all or nothing in the CVs. So this is what it might look like. Someone citing it. Okay. So the use of the NIMS ID, which you saw in some of those examples, it's a temporary number. At the beginning of when the policy went into effect, people were putting the NIMS number and walking away and just leaving it there for months or even years. NIH said, it needs to be approved so that we can generate a PMC number. Only 3 months. Again, if it's not approved, it's never totally dumped out of the system. You can always go back in somehow, either through ERA Commons or if you can log on to the NIMS system and just type in the NIMS ID and you'll pull it up and you hit approve. So it's still there, but it's just hasn't moved through to have a PMC assigned. So here's a biosketch. You can see PMC up there, number 3. You can see the NIMS, number 4, and also in other places. And the last one, PMC journal in process. Okay. So this is what a biosketch has to look like, even if it's one of the faculty on a training grant. You now have to make sure that the biosketch they send you to include in the training grant looks like this. That's why it's a good idea to start ahead of time. And this is a message that a grant holder may get. You can see they've included a PMID, but they're saying it's not in compliance. And they're saying you need to go to one of these methods and get that manuscript deposited. So luckily we have our little gatekeepers who actually do this for you, so it shouldn't come from NIH. So you'll be able to do it before they pass it on to NIH. Here's a progress report. And you can see PMC journal in process for two of the publications listed here. Okay.